Welcome to SWO, Strange World Observer, with your host, John.
Hey strangelings out there, this is John and welcome to the Strange World Observer. Remember always that if you like what you hear and see, to hit that like button. That if you want to share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Parler, your Mayway, your Rumble, whatever it is that you listen and have friends on. Share it on those platforms so that you can get it out there so that we can grow our audience. And third, remember to hit that the subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you're notified of anything that we post up on this YouTube page. So, with that being said, what is today's topic? Unity Schmunity. The reason we go there is because of our lovely Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris, who have decided to take it upon themselves, along with the media, to suggest that they are the next president and vice president of the United States. And in their recent victory speech, you hear the following statements.
Hope and unity, decency, science, and yes, truth.
And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They're Americans.
So I really do hope that he means what he says and she means what she says. The fact of the matter and the way they're acting, I would say they don't mean it. And I'll give you some more supporting evidence in other areas coming up here in a second. But the first thing is that the election is not decided yet. We have to understand that they are not the president-elect and the vice president-elect. That does not actually become their title until December 14th when the Electoral College votes on who the next president of the United States will be. There are still legal issues involving this election that are well, not both sides, but coming from the Trump side, in many different states at the moment. And so with that being said, they are circumventing the legal electoral process by accepting the presidency and vice presidency before they have actually been declared the winner. There's been no concession speech on the behalf of Trump, who is in the midst of filing lawsuits regarding this. And of course, the other thing about that is they were all about Gore doing it for 37 days back in 2000, but since Trump has done it, and it's only been a week, it's still bad. It's been exactly 9 days as of right now that this has been going on, or 8 days that this has been going on, and it's the worst thing in the world to ever happen. So again, when we're talking about unity, I really wish it was true, but I don't have a feeling that that's true, and I'll tell you why, because of things like this. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she turns around and says, I hope, is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? Complicity in the future. I want you to hear those words. I foresee decent probability of many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future. Well, there's only going to be one reason people would be deleting tweets, writings, and photos in the future, and that's because you've gone all Bolshevik on us and decided to resurrect Lenin and Stalin, who made enemy lists, along with Mussolini and others, that decided to take whoever their political enemy is and ostracize them from society, blackball them from different jobs. It sounds like you're going down that path. And some would say, well, maybe she's just talking about certain people. Well, Sunny Hostin on The View wasn't talking about certain people. She was talking about all kinds of things. And an article in MRC Newsbusters, Kristen Marsh, and this was written on November the 10th, says, well, that didn't last long. Democrats insisted they were going to heal and unite this country, but are going back on that promise already. And she talks about not only listing the sycophants that helped, but the deplorables, sycophants, all of us who meaning us, meaning Americans, who voted for Trump, who helped Trump get into office the first time, who may even help Trump get into office the second time. We still don't know that answer yet. she started also naming names of different people in the administration of Donald Trump who need to be put on these lists. So how does this sound like unity for a country? Because you automatically are ostracizing 70 million people who voted for Donald Trump. Assuming all the numbers stay the same, roughly, with respect to a recount, 70 million people you automatically, like that, ostracized because you don't like Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. It's kind of really sad. And then you have the Trump Accountability Project. This is a website that's out there. You can go look it up, that it's talking about that we can't ever forget who helped put Trump in office, whoever did the work for Trump. This doesn't sound like unity. This sounds like a third world dictatorship. It really does. And they talk about people that those that elected him, those who were in his government, and those who helped fund him. Now, in some of these areas, they're talking about high-level people in funding with a lot of money. But once you drop down, what happens when, okay, well, that was quick and over with. Who's next? Anybody who is registered as a donor for the RNC, perhaps? Somebody who's on a mailing list for the RNC? Somebody who emailed the White House in support of Donald Trump? Or Vice President Pence? There's a lot of different things that this really has a really bad, or will leave a really bad taste in the mouth of people in the United States, because this is not the way the United States works. When Donald Trump took office, everybody yelled, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. And we saw 4 years later, have they locked her up? No. They started yelling at everybody else, lock them up, lock them up. They haven't done it. No, they haven't. Matter of fact, Trump, all he has done is help support the Constitution. Now, you will hear the other side say that he has not supported the Constitution. He is a dictator, an authoritarian, a totalitarian, a Hitler, whatever else that they want to claim him to be. But let me just kind of give you 3 presidencies real quick. Actually, let's go ahead and make it 4. FDR, who mobilized the DOJ against and the IRS against people he didn't like. Obama, who actually arrested people in the news media for things that were said about him, used the IRS against conservative organizations to make them, or in an effort to help them lose their tax status. Trump, who hasn't gone after now he may have hurt their feelings by saying they were fake news. Obama was saying that, nobody cared. But Trump says it, yes. Some of his tweets, yeah, I'm not a big fan of. I get it. But he's never gone to the DOJ to say, look, I want you to start attacking the news media. I want you to start investigating the news media. He's never gone to the IRS and say, pull all of their statuses from them in the news media. He's never done any of that. But yet we already have this lining out in front of us about a Biden administration. And he's not officially the president-elect, and she's not officially the vice president-elect yet. But yet this is already coming to head. We have to get our heads around this. And so the fact that Donald Trump wants a clear election, one that he says is not frauded, or there's not any inconsistencies or inefficiencies or whatever it may be, is not something that we should be afraid of. Matter of fact, Democrats should want it even more. And the reason why Democrats should want it more is because that if this is investigated and it turns out that Joe Biden wins, even with that happening, that investigation happening, then there will not be a stigma over the next 4 years from 70 million people in the United States saying he is not a legitimate president, which we have heard for the last 4 years of Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton has never taken full responsibility for her election failure. She's, I take some responsibility where my part was concerned, but But really, there was a lot of misinformation. There was a lot of Russian information and interference. Matter of fact, we heard Russian interference going into this election. We heard Trump was going to try to undercut the post office in this election. We heard that he was going to do this, do that, the other. Once Biden was elected, there was no interference. There was no inconsistencies. There was no nothing. It was a perfect election. Sounds fishy, but all right. But again, going back to this idea that we're seeking the truth, that if you are seeking to have every legal vote counted and Joe Biden wins, so be it. If you have every legal vote counted and Trump wins, so be it. I don't think Trump is in the wrong for doing that. All right, so we're going to introduce a new section here in the Strange World Observer. This new segment is now called the ID10T. I wonder what that means. Anyway, so we have 3 winners this week on this episode. The first one is Chuck Schumer for these responses.
The long, dark night in America is over, and a new dawn is coming.
So this is what Chuck Schumer decided to take the streets for, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, he's declaring victory. Why would you not say something like that? But here's what really got him the award this week.
So I say to Donald Trump, you lost. No more games. Go home. Go home to Florida. Stop delaying. Stop making up lies about the election. It was fair. There have been no irregularities found. You lost. You lost fair.
So no irregularities. It was fair. Go home. What they're setting up for is definitely a thing that where if Trump does succeed in the recounts, that he has stole the election. Lies, funny business, tricks, all that stuff. But no irregularities is what Chuck Schumer said. Well, let's listen to the GOP chair in Michigan.
If all this wasn't enough, in Antrim County, ballots were counted for Democrats that were meant for Republicans, causing a 6,000 vote swing against our candidates. The county clerk came forward and said tabulating software glitched and caused a miscalculation of the votes. Since then, we have now discovered that 47 counties use this same software in the same capacity.
Now that's 47 counties in the state of Michigan. The Dominion machines are used in many different states. Now, not each state has a total control. Like Dominion doesn't have the control. You have Hart Industries. You have a couple other industries that companies and enterprises that actually make these machines and put them out there. Georgia had some Dominion. They found some votes in there, some irregularities in there because there was an update like the day before the election or 2 days before the election. And so you find a lot of things that are going on that are kind of hinky, and it may not mean a hill of difference and a hill of beans of difference in the end, but it's just kind of odd. So irregularities, yes, there is evidence of irregularities. And the fact that even the press sat there in a White House briefing where they talked about all of the legal challenges and the affidavits that they are submitting on behalf of people, hundreds of them in one state alone, should make you worry. At least it should make you worry about the validity of the election. Now, again, whether that validity is then stamped valid and Joe Biden wins, so be it. If it's stamped valid and Trump wins, again, so be it. Now, it won't be that way because you're going to have those who their businesses boarded up, everything, in fear of the riots and looting. If Trump wins, we'll come out and riot and loot just a few weeks later as opposed to the night of the election. But here's what it can do just in the state of Michigan. So in Michigan, Biden got 2,790,648 votes. Trump had 2,644,525 votes, which is a difference of 146,123 votes. Okay. 6,000 in one county were switched from Republican to Democrat. Now, that's also for your Senate race, your local races. It's not just your presidential race. And one of the things that Trump actually mentioned was the idea that it was really bad for John James because he felt John James won the election. Even if Trump doesn't win Michigan, he felt John James did for the Senate. Besides that, so move on. 6,047 counties equals 282,000 votes, which is greater than the 146,000 votes that separate the two of them. So could this possibly swing an election? Yes. Are you going to get 6,047 counties? No. But could you have 1,000 here and 7,000 there? Yeah. I mean, it might equal out to it. It might come out to 148,000 votes. Who knows? It may come out to 12,000. We don't know. But the problem is we don't know. We should know, and we should be looking for those answers. Our number 2 recipient in this episode of the ID10T card is both Harris and Biden for trying to circumvent a natural election, a legal election, trying to go ahead and make everything seem like A is okay, and we're winners, and we are going ahead, and we are the president-elect, and we are the vice president-elect, and so everybody needs to just focus on us. Don't look at all the information. Don't look at all the noise out there. Just look at us and pay attention to us, so that when the vote comes in, and if Biden loses because of the vote recount, they can say, oh, look, the mean people on the Republican Party stole it from us. Okay, where's that message of unity again? There's no enemies, right? We're just Americans? Yeah, okay. Let's see how that plays out. If the shoe drops on the other foot. Again, it very well could be a Biden victory when all legal votes are counted. I'm not saying that at all. But the fact that they're doing what they're doing, they get the ID10T card for this episode as well. And our last one is somebody that we talked about in a previous episode, which was our wonderful individual, the pseudo-journalist, Anderson Cooper.
Like an obese turtle on his...
Like an obese turtle. We've heard that language before. So I hope you enjoy the segment for the new segment for the ID10T cards, and that you enjoy what you watch. If you do, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure to hit that share, hit the share button and share it on your Facebook and everywhere else you are, so that we can grow our market, as well as subscribing to the channel. If you do have any comments, questions, you can put them in the comments box below, or in the description box. You'll always find our email address where you can email with any questions or even challenges of fact and where I may be wrong. And but the best comments will always be put into the video as far as that goes. So for the Strange World Observer, I'm John. May the facts be ever in your favor.
Thank you for listening to the Strange World Observer podcast. If you like what you heard, hit the like button. Feel free to share the cast with others who are seeking a different voice. The podcast has been produced by yours truly. Music by Polyphonetic on Luberman.com. Again, thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.